Welcome into my channel, guys. My name is Villain, and today I'm talking about the Virulence Sniper in SWTOR 7.0 expansion, Legacy of the Sith. In my opinion, the Virulence Sniper embodies the saying, easy to learn, difficult to master. Just about anybody can pick it up and be quite effective with it if they stick to the basic rotation. But it's those who spend hours upon hours practicing and live and breathe for sniper DPS who will truly get the most out of the spec and outclass everyone else. Let's get started with the overall strengths and weaknesses of the Virulence spec. This spec has crazy high single target DPS. It's not at the very top of the pyramid right now, but it's still really high up there. You also get very good AoE DPS as well, and what's even better is that it's really easy to pull off with only a minimal setup. Snipers in general have a lot of raid utility. They are able to reduce incoming damage for the entire raid team or reduce accuracy of huge groups of mobs, among several other things. However, all of that comes at a cost. Snipers have to enter cover to use certain abilities, but doing so activates the cover hotbar and can be very confusing for some people. Turning off the cover hotbar altogether can go a long way towards alleviating this issue, but it's still a problem for a lot of people. The Virulence rotation can be extremely static and very easy to do and still put out pretty good DPS. However, achieving absolute maximum DPS, you have to do a constantly shifting rotation while also entering and exiting cover over and over. It looks and feels really silly and takes a ton of practice to master. And the last thing I'll mention here is that it has limited mobility. You'll be channeling a lot of your abilities, and breaking those channels can result in a significant DPS loss. Because of this, you are rooted in one place a lot, so maximizing uptime requires a lot of forethought about what phases of fights are coming next and how you can best position yourself. As with almost all DPS specs, the gearing is exactly the same. You'll want 2700 accuracy, 2054 plus double your ping alacrity, and then you'll put the rest into crit. You'll want the improved targeting package and the locked and loaded package implants, as well as the exploited weakness and airborne agents tacticals. So let's take a look at the skill tree and then we'll move on to the rotation. At level 23, Critical Grenade is the best option in pretty much every situation. Corrosive Technologies might be a better choice in extremely ad-intensive fights, but even then it would be minimal. At level 27, Shatter Snipe is what I take unless we're having trouble with incoming damage. That 20% increase on critical hit damage is really nice. However, if heals are having a problem keeping up, or you are wiping to a specific high damage phase of a fight, evasive maneuvers can save your life and help your team get over the hump to down a boss. At level 39, Corrosive Targeting is the only choice. This build requires lots of crits to sustain high damage, so the increase on both hit chance and hit damage is crucial to making all this work. At 43, once again, there's only one option. Critical Compounds will make it so that you don't have to worry at all about energy management. If you find yourself running out of energy with this option selected, you either don't have near enough crit in your gear, or you're doing the rotation all kinds of wrong. At 51, you'll want to run Snapshot most of the time. Taking advantage of the free lethal shot when entering cover is one of the things people do to squeeze maximum DPS out of this spec. Once again, if your team is having trouble getting past high damage phases of fights, you can sacrifice some offense to get some extra defense, take ballistic dampeners, and use cover to lower incoming DPS. At 64, Ruthless Efficiency is what I typically go with, but if there are no adds in a fight, you can go with Overprepared for better defensive capabilities. At 68, Orbital Strike can make your opener much better, but Ballistic Shield is a massively strong defensive buff, so pick accordingly. Finally, at 73, Augmented Shields turn Shield Probe into a very strong defensive ability on a very short cooldown. This one is great for Nightmare Nephra runs where the healers aren't getting you cleansed fast enough. You can use it every time the dot goes out. Seek Cover can be used to give yourself a poor man's version of force speed and help you get out of some tricky situations. And finally, Calculate Pursuit can give this spec some mobility boost if you find a fight where you need it. And finally, we move on to the rotation. As I alluded to in the intro, the basic version of this rotation is extremely easy, but fine-tuning the entire thing to the point that you are using the best abilities exactly as they come off cooldown every time requires a ton of both patience and practice. The premise is simple. Every fourth ability needs to be Cull. You should be using Weakening Blast before every other Cull, and you absolutely must keep your dots up at all times and then use Takedown and Lethal Shot as filler. You'll use Lethal Shot almost all the time, Takedown when you need mobility. 3 abilities and then Cull, 3 abilities and then Cull, 3 abilities and then Cull over and over and over. It's very simple. Your lone offensive cooldown is Viral Targeting and should be used right before Cull every time it's off cooldown. Defensively, you have a huge array of possibilities. Shield probe, entrench, countermeasures, going into cover, meticulous preparation, all can provide personal defensive buffs to you depending on your spec tree choice. Ballistic shield buffs the entire group's defensive capabilities, and diversion debuffs non-boss enemies, effectively working as a defensive cooldown for you. Learning all the different choices you have and when to use each one is one of the many ways a master sniper can turn the tide of battle all by himself. Guys, I love this spec. It's so much fun to play with such a huge variety in the way it can be played. High DPS, high utility, and always something more you can learn about how the class plays. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly, truly do appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.